Hello, Zoe here from Learning Boosters, #1 Amazon bestseller of Learning Boosters for children with learning difficulties. And I'm also the owner of Learning Boosters. And at Learning Boosters, we tutor in maths, English, and music. Music is singing and theory. But welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. So today's Wisdom Wednesday is all about learning through play and why play is so important, particularly for those early years, but right through, even as adults and even as teenagers. The best way for us to learn is through play. But today I'm going to talk about those early years, the 0 to 4 years. So who doesn't love to play? Free play for children is essential time. Play helps them build their own stories and has been shown to improve their reading, writing, problem solving, social skills, and maths skills. Now, as I said, play can be used for older age groups as well as those kids that are having learning difficulties. The best way to teach kids new concepts is through play or using manipulative objects. For instance, I use Lego to help teach kids all about fractions, and they'll retain that information because they've been able to use Lego, which, as you know, is a manipulative, and they can put them together and they can actually physically feel what it feels like and see what it's like. So kinesthetically as well as visually, they're actually learning using all of their senses. So play is a wonderful way to help nurture your child's imagination and to give them a sense of adventure. Through play, they learn those essential skills such as problem solving, working with others, sharing, as in taking turns. This helps them develop the ability to let off steam as well. So if your child is having lots of anxiety, there might be a really good thing that they could use, such as banging on a drum or using a fit ball and bouncing up and down on the fit ball. Sometimes when I've got students here, I get my fit ball out because I can see they're a bit anxious and you can see they're a bit tight in the hands or they're a bit in the face. So I get them to sit on the fit ball and I get them to bounce just for a couple of minutes until they're relaxed a bit more, because that also helps the learning pathways to actually open, and then they can take on the learning that they're there for, basically. So that's my way of helping those students that are having a bit of a tough time as well. This way, through play, kids can also learn new concepts, as I mentioned earlier, about fractions, for instance, problem solving. So if they're actually putting the fractions together, so they've got a block with four of the little lumpy bits on it, and they put 2 on top, they can see how much of that is covering the 4 block and why it's 2 over 4 and then half, because they can physically see it there in front of them. It also develops concentration. So learning through play is the best way to learn for all of us, even for adults. The best way that we learn is through, and I don't mean play as in play child games, but I mean as using manipulatives and things like that to help adults even to understand some of the concepts. So with my adult learners, some of them are a bit iffy with their spelling and their writing and their reading. So I use actual manipulatives for that as well. So letters of the alphabet and things along that line as well. Children learn and develop faster through different types of play, and I'm going to talk about 3 types of play, many of which I use in my tutoring with my students and their learning depending on their needs, because it's all individually based. And because it's fun, children often become very absorbed in what they're doing and forget that they're actually learning, and the learning pathways stay open longer. So, for example, in last month's blog, More Than Games, we talked about the use of battleships, Scrabble and Dragonology to teach many literacy and numeracy skills. So even as an adult, some of my adult students, I use Scrabble, Dragonology and battleships to help them understand the concepts of putting letters together the map of the world, things like that. So let's look at some key points for the ages of 0 to 4. So play helps young children to be ready for school. It encourages their imagination. It helps them with literacy and numeracy skills. Role play games can help your child make a sense of the world. It aids in their physical and emotional development. Outdoor play and nature helps your child learn about the world around them through their senses. So let's now look at 3 different types of play used in learning. These are things that I also use in my own practice. So kinesthetic play. So kinesthetic play is through touch and through manipulatives. So manipulating sand and water is an early introduction to science and maths. So learning that water is a fluid and not a solid, for instance, and that can be measured in different sized containers. So again, you're looking at millilitres, litres, quarters, halves, different things like that, just using sand and water. Playing with Play-Doh and clay, drawing and painting pictures helps with the imagination. It's still through kinesthetics. So they're learning to get out of their brain what they're seeing onto the paper using drawings and painting pictures. But they can also use Play-Doh and clay to make the little creatures or whatever they see in their head as well. Dressing up's a fantastic one because that's, again, they learn about the world around them, and buttoning up buttons and things like that is really, really useful for young children. Playing with dolls will encourage creativity. And yes, even for boys, playing with dolls will help them to learn creativity and emotional things as well. So all these concepts of kinesthetic play also help with the imagination and expressing feelings. Number 2, object play. So by object, I mean building blocks, jigsaw puzzles, shapes, sorters. These will all help with recognising different shapes and sizes. You can also use them in regards to numbers and letters. Putting things in order helps in developing logic and problem solving as well. And also not only putting the shapes in order, but putting the colours in order and being able to name the colours or point to the colour when you say it. So the last one I'd like to talk about is physical play. So this I use quite often with students that are, have some learning difficulties or that are experiencing anxiety, because as I said, you know, bouncing on the sports ball when they get here is a good way of just letting down a little bit and giving them a little bit of time to get used to the environment that they're in. So of course, playing ball games, swinging, riding a bike, exploring outdoors. And when you're exploring outdoors, just let them go, let them explore. So if they fall over, leave them. Don't pick them up unless they've really hurt themselves, of course, because this is, again, learning about resilience and learning about all that emotional things and problem solving. Exploring outdoors is really, really important, but let them do it on their own time, within reason, of course. Dancing, running, climbing, jumping, they all help with body movement, strength, flexibility, coordination skills, problem solving if they're actually exploring outdoors. So these are the 3 major things that I use in my practice with kids to help them to take on some learning. Each learning program is individually specialised for each child, and play is really, really important, as you can see from what we've talked about today. So whatever type of play it is, whether it's drawing, sculpting, dancing, climbing, painting, acting out a make-believe situation, building castles in a sandpit or filling containers with water, playing alone or with others, play activities provide an essential platform for children to learn, discover, explore, question and communicate. If I could help you or your child with any learnings that you're having some difficulties with, please get hold of me at www.learningboosters.com.au fill out the contact form, and that will give you half an hour of my time free for us to chat about how I can help. I'll see you next month. Bye now.